So buy Twitter shorts? You have not been paying attention. You cannot buy the short of a company that is wholly owned by another one and is not publicly traded. Robinhood sold me shares in Twitter, though. Well, you could buy Twitter shares back in the day before Elon Musk bought out the company, if that's what you're talking about. There's a few companies that are not public, like SpaceX and OpenAI, that casual retail investors want to buy. Here's how most people buy stocks on Robinhood, right? They think of a name they recognize that they think is kind of vaguely tech sounding, and then they buy it. So it might be SpaceX, it might be Bitcoin, it might be Nvidia, it might be Tesla, it might be whatever. They open up Robinhood, they have a little bit of extra money, and they buy whatever is vaguely tech sounding because they think it'll go up. And one of the names they've heard a lot is SpaceX, along with OpenAI. They know those are big. They use ChatGPT. However, these companies are not public. They don't sell. You can't buy their stock. Robinhood realized this arbitrage opportunity. Robinhood realized there's a lot of people out there who have money who want to buy these stocks but can't. So what Robinhood did was they created tokenized investment vehicles they basically created tokens of OpenAI and SpaceX that are just listed as SpaceX and OpenAI on their app. They're not actually equity in the companies. You don't own any share of the company. They have no claim on future profits of the company. They have no ownership of the company. OpenAI actually put out a statement that said these OpenAI tokens are not OpenAI equity, meaning stock. We did not partner with Robinhood. We were not involved in this, and we do not endorse it. Any transfer of OpenAI equity requires our approval. We did not approve any transfer. Please be careful. So it's like pretend shares. Now, here's the loophole they use. I want you to know that they have a sneaky loophole. Robinhood owns a subsidiary company that owns a few private shares of OpenAI and SpaceX. And so they tokenize these few shares. They split these few shares, these private shares, into millions of tokens, and then they just have people bid on those. But all this person cares about is I bought something named SpaceX and number goes up. They never actually are going to claim equity over the company. It's all very loosey-goosey, but that's all they care about. They just want to buy something named this because they know other people will do the same thing. But really, it's all these random people bidding on tokens that are splitting up a small number of shares that Robinhood happened to own that no one else can buy. By the way, if you ever got these shares, you can't do anything with them unless you have OpenAI's approval, and they don't allow you to transfer them. So Robinhood can't even give them to you. I mean, it's very silly, but I guess it's kind of brilliant. Yeah, it's like an OpenAI NFT. It's like a SpaceX NFT. They just needed a way to put these names on something you could buy where the number could go up. That's it. They needed to find whatever legal justification they could find to put these two names on something where you could have number go up, because that's all Smiley Face cared about. How is it even priced? It's totally disconnected from OpenAI's valuation. Yeah, it is. It is. It is. You're correct. I mean, it's just priced based on demand for these tokens. It's not priced based on actual valuation of OpenAI or SpaceX. Yeah, it's even sketchier than how most Chinese shares are run. For example, it's worth noting for this explanation that if you own shares in, let's say, Alibaba. Now, China doesn't allow a foreign owner to have equity in Alibaba. Otherwise, someone could come in and buy 51% or whatever, and then one of China's great companies would be owned by non-Chinese. And so what Alibaba did to get money from outside investors is they created an ADR. They create it in the Cayman Islands, right? They create this shell company, and it sits out here, and basically it's a different company that you can own. And this company says, hey, if Alibaba makes a lot of profits, we own that. We have a claim on it. Now, legally, they don't. That's the thing, is this company also doesn't. But everyone outside of China just kind of agrees that it does. So I get a share in this, but I can never get a share in this. And that means if there's ever a legal dispute, or if Alibaba was being dissolved and had to pay out its shareholders or whatever, I wouldn't actually get anything. But everyone wants to trade in this, so they don't care. There's a lot of things that just work because nothing bad's happened yet. That's basically what it is. So yeah, you can't really own any of these major Chinese stocks. You can only own these ADRs they set up. Does it pay dividends? Nope. No, it does not. How did you invest then? No, I have an ADR. I don't know a lot of Alibaba, but I do have some ADR shares. What does dividends mean? So if a company makes money, right? Let's say you make $100,000 and you take out the $80,000 you had to spend on employees and costs, okay? So that $20,000 left over, that's profit, baby. That's that good shit. That's what you make a company for. You can take that money and you can reinvest it into the business, or you can pay it out to shareholders in the form of a dividend. So if you're like more of a mature company where there's not a lot of growth opportunities, that's generally what you do. If you're like Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola pays a big dividend. But if you're still a high growth company, usually you reinvest it. It's like gifting subs or buying DoorDash. No, it's not. Don't interrupt my economic metaphor by adding things. Okay? Are you gonna talk about Brazil-US tensions? I'll give you one small line about Brazil-US tensions. And that is that adding a 50% tariff on Brazil is fucking insane, because unlike some of these other countries that we've been tariffing, they don't even have a deficit with us. They buy more of our stuff than we buy of theirs. They have a trade deficit with us. Even under Trump's logic, we're winning that trade. It doesn't even follow the previous logic, which was already foolish. But also, let's be fucking for real here, dude. I'll believe any of this when I see it. Right now, all the tariff stuff is just talk. It keeps getting delayed. It keeps getting postponed. It keeps getting tweaked. It keeps getting, you know what I'm saying? Nobody believes it. The market responds less and less every time because there's just a general sense that he's not going to do it. He'll say it, he'll throw a big tantrum, but when it comes time to actually put it into place, he won't do it. Why is the tariff so high in the first place? It makes no sense. I mean, he's saying it's because they're punishing Bolsonaro, but it's just wild for a country that is literally, that we have a trade surplus with, that is just buying a ton of American goods, way more than we buy from them. What a nasty, nasty thing to say. Atrioc has been saying some nasty things, folks. One of the nastiest things I've ever heard, maybe. Nasty Atrioc, we call him. He's always saying lies. Fake news Trioc. I did see that. Yeah, I can talk about this real quick. So if you guys know, wait, let's pull this up. So there's X.com, the everything app, AKA Twitter. This company is kind of failing. So it sells itself for $45 billion to xAI, the much better and flashier AI startup owned by Elon Musk. Now this company's worth a lot of money because everyone's hyped about AI. So there's a lot of money going on in this. However, this company probably burning through all that money as it spends billions on NVIDIA chips for Grok and to buy useless Twitter companies. So it needs more money. So it's raising again at a higher valuation. Now, in order to justify that higher valuation, it needs investors willing to pay that much. One of the investors they're cooking up is Tesla or SpaceX, but I think he wants to merge all three. Oh, SpaceX already did it. I knew it was both. I knew it was both. Yeah, I'm sorry. xAI does go to SpaceX. SpaceX puts in $2 billion to help float it at a higher valuation. And now he's trying to get it also to get funded by Tesla. So this web of connections here to keep all of this house of cards afloat is getting pretty crazy. Everything is all looping at each other. I think, and then someone was floating today that he was either commenting on or liking the idea of merging all three of these companies just to get money to bail out all the failed bets here and here. Now, here's what I'll say. Latest update, Tesla, this company's fucking dog shit. Low-key, dude. Sales are continuing to drop, revenue down, valuation way overextended. Again, I've said this a million times. I can't say it in better ways. I understand the stock is what it is, but I remain confident that math is real and that Tesla is just not worth what it said it is. That's fine. However, I will say, to be fair here, my latest reading, and I read something today on SpaceX, you know, this is still a thriving company. SpaceX is still getting huge government contracts. Trump has not yet followed through on his plan to like have Doge investigate Elon. And SpaceX is very deeply enmeshed in the military and yeah, just the highest levels of government. For a lot of problems the government has, they go to either Palantir or SpaceX to deal with it. They go, we can't figure it out. You guys do it. Here's $1 bazillion. So this is kind of like the last one that feels like it's got future potential, like it's growing. I don't know, as tech that is not yet caught up to or matched by its competitors. Everything else, it almost feels like spinning plates, dude. This company's such a bust. X.com, ad revenue dead, subscription revenue dead. They're using adjusted EBITDA. dog shit to try and pretend like they're growing, but they're not. XAI, this is all hype so far. I mean, no revenue. They haven't made any money off of it. They're just throwing away billions on newer models of Grok, but they're not making money yet. So eventually they have to make some money. You know, the valuation's absurd, assuming future profit potential that doesn't exist yet. Tesla has some car sales, but they're declining. They've never been really profitable. It's mostly government tax credits, which are now gone in the big beautiful bill. So they're screwed. SpaceX is the only one where actual money is coming in, actual cash money is entering the building. It's all going to end up here. It's going to have to bail out everything. Yeah, the two things that keep it going are the AI bubble continuing and investors willing to pay any price for a company that has AI in it, and SpaceX continuing to make government money. If either of those two pillars leave, the whole house of cards is collapsed. What about the Boring Company? Zero revenue, zero money, not even worth talking about.